The winner of the Small Business Award for 2004 gives advice in her column on how to better your business. You'll meet her coming up next on Carolina People.
Myrtle Beach's oldest locally owned newspaper. The Myrtle Beach Herald. For locals, by locals, about locals. Subscribe now. Call 843-626-3131.
Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're focused on the guest column in the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal, and we're visiting with its columnist, Carol Ruddick. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning. How are you, Greg?
The co-owner of the Cypress Inn and
the better
lovely,
owner. The better half.
The better half. That's right. It always feels strange saying co-owner. The absolute better half. And I'm sure your husband is probably tuning in right now and saying the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. He knows who rules. Yeah. The Cypress Inn's a beautiful location there in Conway for our viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina who may not have visited.
We started in '97. When Conway was still trying to find its way. And we found a really neat location down by the river. And at that time, the Riverwalk had phase 1.
Right.
And since then, the Riverwalk has gone into phase 2. That's been completed. The Judicial Center has been completed,
right.
And Conway is working on phase 3. And so our location just keeps getting better and
right.
better and better.
Right in the center of all that.
Yeah, yeah.
For our viewers who would possibly drive down to the beach or come down on a regular basis, if they were traveling down 501, how would they get to the location if they've never been there? Of course, that's in a real central location there.
Yes, it's in the downtown historic area. We like to take them, if you come down 501 and you see the Hardys, where the Kmart and the Belk is, to take a left there, that's 16th. And then the next traffic light is Elm Street, and you take a left on Elm and go down to the end, and we're right across from the tennis courts.
So they take a left on 16th
and
then
a
take
right
a right on Elm, and they travel that all the way down?
Right.
Wow, y'all, oh great, I never thought about that.
Yeah, so you just keep, and that's a beautiful street, Elm Street.
Yeah.
It's very residential, has a lot of really pretty live oaks, and they go all the way down past First Avenue, and we're down by the river.
Now, Carolyn, you and the other half had any involvement, not the better half, the other half had any involvement in a bed and breakfast prior to opening the Cypress Inn?
No. I had sales and marketing background and human resources, personnel. Jim was customer service, but we had traveled a lot with business.
Right.
And we were just in Atlanta. We had gone to the mountains of Georgia, found this little lodge that was looking for a partner. That got us intrigued in that whole industry, took some classes, and Conway found us. They were trying to enhance the Riverwalk, and one of the visions of the Riverwalk, in addition to restaurants and retail, was to have a bed and breakfast. So they found out we were looking for a bed and breakfast, and asked us if we would be interested in building one. And that was probably the best decision, because when you're retrofitting a house, you never know what you're going to find.
Right, sure.
And so we could build it to fit the needs of the 21st century.
Yeah.
All of our rooms have private baths, TVs, telephones, jacuzzi tubs. Now we have high-speed internet, wireless.
Right.
So we can now focus also on the needs of the business person and the lawyers that come down. It's so funny when we have a businessman that comes for the first time, their office maybe has made the reservation for him.
Yeah.
And he will arrive knowing that he's staying at a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't know, and he arrives at the door and kind of looks at us and doesn't know if he has to share his bathroom with Joe down the But once they come in and once they stay with us, they're absolutely sold. And yeah. As a matter of fact, last night we had a gentleman who was referred to us by a local person who is an engineer who's working at the Horry County landfill, and they put him down at a busy hotel, and he couldn't get any sleep, and he found us, and he said, all my guys are coming here when they have to come. So
wow. Right.
yeah, so that worked out really well.
Now, Carol, was this a homecoming for you and Jim? Are you all natives of the area?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Put you on the spot. Conway's home?
No, I
Or-
don't
yeah,
have
it's
an
home
accent.
now.
Yeah, we were living in Atlanta, but my home, where I grew up, was upstate New York.
Right.
In a little town called Amsterdam. It's
Oh.
right in the middle of the state,
Mhm.
about an hour from Albany, the state capital.
Okay.
But I lived in a lot of different places.
And Jim, your husband?
He also lived in a couple different places. His father worked for originally GE and then DuPont, and so he was transferred quite a bit. But then when he was about 8th or 9th grade, they settled in Wilmington, Delaware, and that's
Uh-huh.
where they are now.
How did you and Jim meet, Carol?
Um,
Or where'd y'all meet? That's right.
we met at a wedding. Jim's brother was married to my cousin,
Really?
who has since passed away.
Mm.
But my cousin and Jim's brother were working for IBM in Kingston, New York.
Mhm.
I was living in California. Jim was living in Atlanta. And I was in the wedding. Jim was in the wedding. The wedding was in Kingston, New York. So I made the trip to Kingston. Now, the tradition in the Ruddick family is when their siblings get married, they do, at the rehearsal dinner, they do this kind of a roast, kind of funny humor thing.
Right.
So my cousin said to me, "You've got to do something. I mean, they said you can do it if you want to." And I said, "Hey, I've got to represent the family,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
Italian family. You can't have because the Ruddicks, there are like 7 of them, and you can't have them totally take over."
Own everything, yeah.
So I had planned this really neat thing. And at the rehearsal dinner, Jim got up and did his thing because he thinks he's a ham, you see.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so everybody was laughing, ha ha. And so his other brother, Mick, was the MC, and he said, I think there's another person that wants to do something. Well, I did kind of a takeoff on vaudeville, where you have these cue cards and the audience kind of talks,
Please,
you
yeah.
had these applause and stuff, but I had words where the audience would feed back. And so I told this story about how Ed, Jim's brother, had met Mary Beth, and he wasn't an Italian, and all this stuff. And I had these cue cards, and they were just going crazy. They were laughing
yeah.
and joking. And Jim at the time had a girlfriend at
the wedding.
At the wedding,
Oh,
yeah.
no, Carol.
So so we had a really good time at the and then we were partnered at the wedding too the next day.
Yeah.
Then I went back to California, and he was in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and then we started to correspond back and
Oh,
forth.
come on. What about that girlfriend?
She was gone.
She was quickly thrown aside.
Yeah. So we did that for about a year and a half, and then my mom passed away, and being on the West Coast and my dad was on the East Coast,
Yeah.
I thought, well, where can I go that's not in the winter months? So I said, "Oh, Jim, I'm moving to Atlanta."
Yeah.
So
And he was living in Atlanta.
yeah,
then.
so
You're kidding.
I got an apartment, and then we did another whole 2 years, and then we got married after
How
that.
exciting. What a great story.
So that was
yeah.
fun. Yeah, that was
What a
fun.
great story. And of course, to think about how families get together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a re-emerging partnership.
And it was
amongst families.
always good to know the family that you're marrying into, and they're just a great family. They're fun.
The
And,
Ruddick clan.
yeah. When they all get together now, there's like 25 because they have children.
Sure.
So.
How exciting. And of course, that experience of leaving Atlanta and heading up, as you said, into the Georgia mountains and seeing another bed and breakfast that was looking for partnership. Whatever happened to them? Did you ever find out or follow that?
Yeah, we thought that the area wasn't going to make it, and we wanted something that was a little bit more resort that would pull in the people. It was just too far away, and we didn't think we could really do well.
Carol, you said you all took some classes.
Mm-hmm.
What were those classes for bed and breakfast? And of course, so maybe a little history of bed and breakfast. Where did that concept come up? Has that been around the States for many, many years? Or?
It started in Europe, and they are smaller in number, and then started in the United States, and now I think the number is about 30,000.
Wow,
and
30,000.
Yeah, and they range anywhere from 3 rooms to 15 rooms.
Okay.
When you get much into like the 20 and 30 room properties, the bed and breakfast feel kind of goes away. But there's an association called the Professional Association of Innkeepers International, and they are pretty much cutting edge as far as knowing how the industry is changing. And when we started to research this 10 years ago, they were right on, and they said there are more people now that are going to be looking at bed and breakfast as alternative lodging because the hotels and the motels are so cookie cutter. And people want something that's a little bit more homey, has a nicer feel, better hospitality. But they also don't want to give up their amenities. They want a private bath, they want a jacuzzi tub, they want a TV in their room, they want a telephone. So that's what we fed into, is all of that information. So when we created built the inn, we made sure that it had all the amenities of a hotel and a motel, but the personal service and the hospitality that the bed and breakfast industry has been known for.
Right, and you all have how many rooms within the Cypress Inn? How many guest rooms?
We started with 12 guest rooms. Now we have 11 because we turned one of our guest rooms into a massage room.
Oh, really? Great.
We have an on-site massage therapist, and she services her own clients as well as our guests.
Wow.
And it's amazing how many people now are booking our massage packages. And they get the couples get, not couples massages, they get one massage at a time, but a lot of the men are getting massages, had never had a massage before, but it's so therapeutic, and after they have a massage, they know what they're missing, because it really helps get the body back into a healing mode.
They can do 60-minute, 90-minute, multiple different types of
Well,
massage.
she has a 60-minute massage. She also has what she calls ultimate foot therapy, where she'll do massages and reflexology on your feet. She can also do a shoulder, neck, head massage, and then she does aromatherapy massages, where she will take different massage oils for either relaxation or stress reduction. So it's fun, yeah.
That is fantastic. I'm getting zoned out here early this morning just thinking about that, Carol.
Yeah, and then because she's there on site, we take advantage of that, and each of us has one massage a month.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Great.
so,
Good to have a tenant like that.
Yeah.
You can move one here into the TV station. That's a great idea.
It is.
That's a great idea. You know, you think about operating a bed and breakfast now down to 11, so you could have one as small as just 3 rooms.
Yes.
And as large as 15 and still be considered. I mean, that sounds like a heck of a lot of folks for one. Is it normally a couple? Is it normally a person or a couple?
It is. Now, some of the larger places down, like in Charleston, some of the bed and breakfasts there have managers that actually manage the bed and breakfast, manage the inns. But we actually live on site and do everything. I mean, we have housekeepers and we have other people that work for us, but pretty much do it ourselves. And that's what we felt people wanted. They wanted to see, especially the business people coming back, the same face. The business women like it because it's safer. People, we know when they don't come back, or we know if there's a problem, you know, we can help them out if their internet doesn't work or if their wireless doesn't work, and you know, we can also recommend places they can go to eat. So it's a lot homier. They feel a lot safer, and they like my breakfast.
Listen to that. Yeah. So this is true. I mean, when we think of a bed and breakfast, how is it different than, let's say, a hotel? I mean, for someone who's never been to a bed and breakfast, you've laid out many of those things, but there is a breakfast involved. You are cooking. Yeah.
And some of the hotels now are saying that they're a bed and breakfast because they serve breakfast. But because the bed and breakfast are the continuum is like so large.
Right.
You really have to ask questions when you're making a reservation. You have to ask, how many rooms? Do you have a private bath? Is it a private bath and suite? Because some places have a private bath, but it's across the hall. But they say, well, that's your private bath, it's only for you. Well, some people feel uncomfortable doing that. Pets are also an issue. I am allergic to pets, so we do not have pets at the inn. However, some inns do have pets, and so I would have to find out whether there are pets in the inn. I couldn't go there. Usually they're non-smoking, but there's one inn in Sumter that there's two sisters that run it who smoke.
Right.
And so if that bothers you, if you're allergic to smoke, you need to know that.
Right.
So there's a lot that, in just getting the feel, when you talk to someone on the phone, you can get a feel whether that person is going to be friendly or not friendly.
How exciting, Carol. Yeah, so much happens on the telephone. You've been highlighting that in the guest column recently in one of your, I think, May or June columns there in the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal. And, of course, so many other things. I think you kicked off in March or April, and one of the big focuses was on branding. And then in July, another kind of part 2 on branding, another reason to really work hard on that.
And, you know, what is in the column is not just for the lodging industry.
Right.
It's for every industry. How many times have you called up a doctor's office and were put on hold, or have you, if you called a restaurant to make a reservation and you know it rang and rang and rang and nobody, or you walked into a restaurant and someone was rude to you, or any retail store and you know the clerk is chewing gum or talking on the phone. Supermarkets are infamous for this. You'll be standing 2 feet away from the checker and they'll be talking to someone else, or you know, or you could be invisible. So you know, it goes across the board. It really does. But working in the hospitality business, what we did was an amazing experience. It was an education that you couldn't get anywhere else. There's just a wide variety of people. There are many interests, many walks of life. Probably the most endearing thing for us is because we're so close to the bases, the military bases. We have a lot of military people that come that have been in Iraq, who come. Actually have some people last week. He was on a 2-week leave. They came and spent a couple of days with us, and then he's gone back to Iraq. And you never know whether they're going to come back or not come back. And you know, you really feel, because they're doing an amazing job out there, and you just want to give them as much as you can. You know, kind of a thank you.
I'm sure, albeit probably most of your customers think the same way. I mean, you're really going over and above. Do you oftentimes ask some of the questions that they may not be asking of you on the telephone? I mean, do you point out things that they may be wanting to ask you?
Yeah, and one of the things we do is we always send out a confirmation letter with driving directions, and when I tell them that over the phone, they say, oh, wow, thank you. Yeah. Because usually you're kind of left to your own devices of how to find the place.
Wherever you're staying, whether it's in Myrtle or Florence or Lumberton or right there in Conway, sure. Right.
So we do that, and we ask about dinner reservations. We also do small weddings, small, like up to 8 people.
Oh, wow.
Mostly elopements and or very, very small weddings. It's a wedding package. It doesn't include dinner or anything, and we just make suggestions on where they can go to dinner. But it includes 2 nights in one of our king bedrooms. It includes the marriage ceremony. It includes flowers, fresh flowers for the bride and the groom, and also a little photography package. And since I'm a notary, I can perform the wedding ceremony.
Wow, how exciting!
And they can pick. A lot of them go down to the river on the Riverwalk and have the ceremony there. Sometimes they do it in the inn in front of the fireplace. So it's a kind of another little thing that we've added for everybody.
That is exciting, Carol. One other exciting thing, to think the inn's only been open around 8 years, 8+ years, and to see that you all have received that AAA 4-diamond designation for 8 years. Has it been literally since opening?
They came in, we opened in May of '97. They came in April, and they wanted us in the AAA book. But in order to get a 4-diamond rating, they have to stay overnight. So the first year, they had to give us a 3-diamond rating. When she came to inspect, we didn't even have the furniture in.
Oh, wow.
But she knew from the layout that it would be at least a 3-diamond. And then the next year, we started on our 4-diamond.
How does someone go back? I mean, you know, what is it? What's the AAA 4-diamond designation? For viewers who may not be familiar with that, they see it, but they sure don't see it on many locations. I think there's
Right.
only 2 hotels on the Strand, and obviously y'all
Right.
as a bed and breakfast, probably
Right.
one of the only ones in the Carolinas.
There's one other in Latta.
Is that
And
right?
then there's one in Charleston, one or two in
Okay,
Charleston.
sure.
Yeah, but AAA has a book that gives you what the parameters are for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
They have a 5 diamond.
They have a 5.
rating.
Now, 5 diamond is hard. I don't think a bed and breakfast really can. It'd be hard for a bed and breakfast to get that because you have to have so many staff per guest, and then you have to be able to have 24-hour food service and a whole lot of other things.
Right.
But again, the Professional Association of Innkeepers International worked with the AAA people to set up a designation for bed and breakfast.
Right.
So that we are a little bit different than hotels. In other words, a hotel, they say that they have to have a peephole. The bed and breakfasts don't want to put a peephole in there, especially in the historic buildings. So they've modified some of the qualifications for a bed and breakfast. But they tell you how many hangers to put in the closet. They tell you what size soap for each of the designations.
Wow.
That we have to triple sheet our beds. The big thing is how you answer the phone, calling people by name, remembering their name, carrying their luggage. That whole hospitality thing is a big chunk of the AAA for Diamond Rating. And for 2006, we've already been inspected for 2006, and we will get it again in 2006.
They've already notified you to let you know.
Well,
you're
yeah,
right.
they
You sure
come a
hope-
year
yeah.
ahead of time and
Right.
inspect us. So when we had our inspection in 2005, they said we passed for 2006. So we know that we'll get it for 2006.
How exciting. The Myrtle Beach Marriott Resort there at Grand Dunes
Right.
recently achieved it. I think the Radisson,
Radisson,
soon to be
mhm.
Sheridan, has achieved that a couple times. We mentioned
Yeah.
Center Hotel.
Yep,
Other than that, I'm not sure of any other locations
think
in
so,
Horry and
yeah.
Georgetown County.
right.
That's a big deal, and of course
It is.
that ability, and when you talk about the name association, being able to say hey to your patrons, the customers, and know
Right.
their names, in large hotels even oftentimes there's that effort to get to know
Right.
guest names. I think about places, Ritz-Carlton or otherwise, where they're working hard, top to bottom staff, to find your name, learn it, and remember it,
That's
say
right.
it over and over.
That's right. And it's so easy now with the databases. We can tell by having the information in our database when a repeat guest comes back if they drink coffee in the morning, if they drink tea in the morning, if they have any allergies, where's the room that they stayed in before. We have a couple that stayed with us 4 years ago on their wedding night. And every year on the anniversary, they come back to the
Wow,
inn and
Carol.
spend it. So we have that history in the database also.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
So we
tremendous.
try to do something special for them when they come.
I bet you do. I bet you'll make that a treat. You know, and of course, we're so excited that you kicked off the guest column in the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal. And of course, going back, those were online at thelocalnewspaper.com, or recently the July issue at thelocalbusinessjournal.com. And the July story for success, business need to be branded. But we go back to the first one, hospitality, knowing your customers. And then one of the branding's a buzzword for quality and service. But how do I know what my customers want?
Right.
What a great topic. For folks who may have missed that, they can go online and check that out.
Right.
It's so critical to think about what your customers are looking for.
Yeah, you can't go by what you want because you'll miss the boat. And what I will probably do in some of the upcoming articles or columns is add websites. Blogs are, you know what a blog is?
Sure, yeah.
Web blog.
For viewers who may not, share with them real quick.
It's a weblog that has amazing information. It's free information. A lot of the blogs in marketing and PR are written by professionals. That Tom Peters has one, Seth Godin has one, and they are giving you pearls of wisdom. They're giving you also cutting-edge information on how to run your business and how to change your business and what consumers want. And all you need to do is go online. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay for it. And you can read all of the information. And a lot of what I have in my columns is garnered through a lot of the blogs because they also have the RSS feeds, which is a software that if you put a keyword in there, it will search the internet and pull out any article that pertains to that keyword. And that's what the people that write the blogs do. So they do all the work for us. All we need to do is go onto the blogs and read what they've researched. And it's just amazing how much information you get, new trends, what's happening. And they're the ones that say, in branding, people look at what you do, and based upon what you do, you get branded as a certain type of property. So if you are known as a discount whatever, lodging facility, restaurant, then that's what your market is going to be. Your market is going to be those people that want only the discounts.
Right.
If you are known for excellent service, there's a men's store in Conway called the Haberdashery, and they are absolutely phenomenal, and they have been branded for excellent customer service because they go over and above for their customers.
That's great to see. Carol, thanks so much for being with us this morning. I'm sorry we run out of time. We'll have to get you back another time, or your other half.
Very good.
Hubby Jim. Thanks.
Yes.
Great being with you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Carol Ruddick coming up next. You think about those efforts of getting a column together, putting that together on a regular basis. You heard about Carol's research on blogs or checking out other sites to come up with those great pearls of wisdom. She's passed them along in the guest column. Go online at thelocalbusinessjournal.com to check them out. You know, you heard her talk about her allergy to pets. You didn't get to hear her talk about her owning a pet sitting service in Atlanta for 2 years. We didn't get to hear her talking about authoring and self-publishing 3 books focused on adult literacy while in Atlanta. We did get to hear her talk about her now husband tossing his girlfriend aside to get together with her. That took up some time, but it gave a great opportunity to experience what happens in life when folks get together, and those opportunities are shared in a different form in the guest column. Go online or pick up a copy of the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal today.